These people found love after disasters, accidents, and other difficult situations. In 2017, a man was in the hospital after a terrible car accident, but that didn't stop him from proposing to his girlfriend.
The original poem was, I was on proposing to a church.
The Tennessee couple had been dating for about a year. He needed some help getting down on one knee, but he did it. And, of course, she said yes. In 2018, comedian Jason Saenz was seriously injured on a third date.
We had gone out to see a show, came back to my apartment building, and went up on the rooftop. I told her that you could kind of see the Hollywood sign. And in retrospect, I probably should have just made a move on her in my apartment. And we leaned up against a skylight together and we both fell through it. I had landed on the staircase and I got severely paralyzed at that moment.
The entire time he was in the hospital, his date, Erin, remained by his side.
I was in bad shape, unresponsive, not looking good. And I understand that. But she, never gave up. She kept trying. She really showed me a lot of love during that time. But I'm happy that I did it with Erin. With nobody else other than Erin, because she stuck by my side.
The pair got married in 2020.
I wouldn't have it any other way. It was such a nice and private and beautiful courthouse wedding. I really cherished that day.
And had their first baby in 2024.
But we've been through so much. I've been through so much. Together, me and Erin have been through so much.
So in the moment, I thought, if I were to cry, that was over for me. I would die.
In 2024, Kennedy Littledyke from Napa, Idaho, shared how she survived a terrifying car accident.
And then it happened so quickly, and I started to go off the road on the left side, and I overcorrected too far, and I went off the road on the right side, and my side of the vehicle hit the power pole, and it flipped us sideways, and we started flipping and rolling, and we didn't have our seatbelts on. So when we were flipping and rolling, I was the first one out, and I wasn't on the ground, actually hanging in the power line by my broken leg. So all three of us were thrown out, and I was hanging up there, and in the process of getting thrown, my arm was actually torn off and was hanging on by the skin on my back, and then my femur was snapped over the wire and hanging in front of my face. And so you can see in the picture that it's all twisted. But I was awake this whole time. This is just I never passed out. I never lost communication with the people underneath me. I was talking the whole time.
Doctors couldn't save her leg.
In that moment, you're 16 years old, all your dreams that you had in your head, and I don't know, they're all gone. The nurses and everything, they were like, I want you to touch it. And I looked at them and I was like, hell no. I was like, I'm not doing that. And then 10 minutes later went by and I touched it, and I cried again a little bit because it's real. It's not just in my head. But then as within 20 minutes, I was totally fine with it. I literally named it. I named my nub Gobi. And I made a whole dance for it. Go Gobi, go Gobi. Go Gobi. I don't know what happened to me in the hospital, but I just had such a smooth transfer from such a bad mental health state to such a positive one.
Kennedy began healing, and she also found love.
Because in the hospital I would cry about is anyone ever gonna love me again? And then this boy, his name's Alec, and I never thought someone could love me as much and accept me as he does. I can take my liner off because you have to wear a liner with your prosthetic leg, and my bare leg around him doesn't bother me. And my bare leg is not a pretty sight because I have scars all over it, and it's jiggly. And so but he does not care, and he will do anything to make my life easier.
It was dark. I don't even think I looked at what it was attached to, but I didn't even think well, what's it matter? If it falls, it falls. It was so close to the ground, but it's what falls on you.
Erin Field warns against hammocks after an accident involving one left her quadriplegic.
So right before the accident, I would just finish my junior year of college.
In 2017, the day of the accident, she met up with a boy named Jack, who she was newly dating.
Because he was in Pennsylvania and I was in Maine, so we decided if we meet up in Boston, that was like 3.5 hours for both of us to drive. The last night we were there, we went up there to sit on the hammock. I sat down and then Jack sat next to me, and that's when the chimney collapsed on top of me.
Tonight, we're learning that the young woman who was injured in a chimney accident in the North End may not walk again.
I don't remember it falling or anything, but I do remember like my neck hurting. And I remember just waking up to like my brother and Jack, and they were just like asking me to like straighten my legs out and stuff. And I was like, they are straightened out, but they weren't. So yeah, I didn't realize like obviously the extent of my injuries. I remember coming off the roof, but I don't remember anything until I woke up in the hospital room. So it was injured on my C5 cervical spinal cord. And so that's paralyzed from chest down, but I have like some shoulder movement, some biceps, but I don't have triceps and I don't have hand or finger function.
Jack stayed by Erin's side the entire time she healed.
I think that like we were kind of like right on the verge of like telling each other we loved each other. Like we probably would have told each other that night. He wanted to stay in the hospital with me, but they only let one person stay, and my mom's like, I'm staying. So he like slept in the waiting room, and we ended up having his mom come down a couple days later because my mom was like, he needs someone. Like he had never met my mom. He had met my brother like once. So it's like my whole family's there and he just doesn't know anyone. But from what he says is he right away just was like, knew he wanted to like stay. He's like, I don't know why. He's like, I feel like you probably either want to stay or you don't. He's like, I just always want to stay. So he said he never really even thought about it, like leaving. So, but yeah, he was really great.
Jack is Erin's full-time caregiver, and they are now engaged.
We decided to do a trip to Aruba, and in April of 2023, and that's when he proposed.
Her followers love learning about her disability and following their love story.
The one about me and my injury, like it went a little viral. It had like 300K. And then I posted one of Jack and it got like 15 million. And I was like, oh, like, and that's when I realized that people like just love like the love story. And so I should make more content with Jack because people want to see Jack.
This couple's love story began with the car crash. Jennifer was driving home at night when she skidded on ice and lost control of her car.
I looked out my passenger side and there were just headlights coming at me. Before I knew it, someone opened my door. Nicholas had actually been in the car behind me that night and the first one to hit me.
You know, I wanted to make sure she was okay, so I asked her, are you okay? Offered her a jacket, offered, my back seat. If you're cold, please sit in the back of my car.
Megan Alexander has more.
The car accident happened here on this highway in New Jersey. Cops say both Nicholas and Jennifer were lucky to be alive and they walked away relatively unscathed. Jennifer thought she'd never see him again, but Nicholas had other plans.
Was it love at first sight?
A little bit. I remember telling my friend that night that I was gonna take her on a date. I wanted to at least take her out, get to know her.
You kept calling me.
I did. I kept calling Jennifer and she hung up the first time.
They eventually got married. In 2018, two strangers who received heart transplants on the same day at the same hospital had no idea that one day they'd fall in love. Colin Covelia was born with a bad heart. On June 9th, 2011, he got his second heart transplant. In the room next to him was 18-year-old Taylor Givens. She was sick and needed a heart transplant as well. But the two didn't actually meet until after their surgery, when they would see each other in passing between doctor's checkups. Taylor friended Colin on Facebook, and the two kept in touch. Colin told Taylor he planned to visit the doctors where they'd been treated on the 5th anniversary of their surgery. Taylor told him she happened to be there getting her tonsils removed, and he should stop by.
Because I had met him in person before, it wasn't like this was a brand new person to me, but it had been so long. We had a lot in common.
And
when he left, my mom turned to me and went, he was flirting with you. And I was like, no, he wasn't.
The pair later got married.
We just kind of knew there was, we would just talk about, oh yeah, wouldn't it be cool if we got married on the day that we met and got a transplant? Like, that'd be awesome.
Organ donation isn't just saving those kind of sicker people that you think about, organs save people like me and Colin, and it gives us, our relationship, our love, and not only that, but it's just given us a really normal life.
In 2020, this pair fell in love because of the pandemic. When Stacy Politsky moved into this Chicago apartment, her neighbor 2 doors down noticed how pretty she was. For months, Alex Morton made occasional small talk in the elevator.
He would be cracking jokes and I would leave laughing, so I just knew that there was something more to this guy.
Then, as the country locked down, they ran into each other in the hallway.
I pretended to be upset that she didn't remember my name, and she said something to the effect of, "Oh yeah, well then, what's my name if you're so mad I don't remember?" And I said, "I just call you the cute neighbor girl that lives on my floor."
Like many people stuck at home during the pandemic, Stacy ordered a giant puzzle.
She came knocking on my door.
I did, yeah.
Asking if I wanted to come over to do the puzzle.
That first night, we spent 5 hours talking to each other just about everything, and definitely the chemistry I think that we had both felt was there.
We skipped a lot of the early dating stages.
We spent so much time getting into our dreams, our values, and the things that we want in our lives.
The pair eventually moved in together and later got married. From 2023, Joe DeMeo was injured in a car crash after falling asleep at the wheel. He burned over 80% of his body. Joe became the first person in the world to successfully undergo a transplant of both his face and hands from the same donor.
A hairline incision was used, with subsequent removal of external scar tissue along the neck, ears, eyelids, and face.
He spoke with Allison Hall.
When you woke up after the surgery and saw yourself, what did you think?
I was happy with it. I knew I was going to be swollen.
Joe started posting about his new reality on social media, which is how he met Jessica Colby, a nurse from Ohio.
After reading about his story, I was kind of just fascinated about him and what he's gone through, and I was like, I need to see more of Joe. And then he messaged me, and then we did not stop talking since.
They first bonded over owning Boston Terriers. Then a special relationship bloomed.
My first thought was, well, that sucks, because he was extremely handsome and young and only 19 when it happened. And then to see pictures of him in the burn unit, I just think about his parents, how hard that must have been for them.
Jessica eventually moved in with Joe. For Inside Edition Digital, I'm Andrea Swindall.